Alright, so welcome to this latest video. I'm just going to pause it right here so we can give a little overview of what's going to happen. So this is round 6. We're going to go over how Gambit dismantled any attack Spirit put together, whether it's through the information plays or through an anti-straw or just a combination of the both. So the main player, at least in my mind, for this game was definitely nafany, right? He's the IGL of the team, and then we'll actually go second on is Hobbit as well. So again, the second voice in the team, the more experienced player on the team as well. So in the previous 5 rounds we can see a pretty balanced one. The last one was closer, but altogether Spirit had gone to both bomb sites fairly equally. They're showing pressure all around the map. There was no clear read other than what you can put together from previous battles against each other. So we're just going to fly above right here. So at the start of the round we saw Inters actually come towards Banana with them, and they've basically gained all Banana control, which we'll see in a moment from them here. So nafany doing the jump spot, they did molly the cubby, and he's actually going to stay on top of the wall. And this is pretty standard from what we see with most teams, right? They take Banana, they leave one player there who has a smoke. In fact, Hobbit will actually use his smoke there, because that was Inters, that's really the original one, and then he'll leave him there to actually be 1 player there and 4 players A. So we see Strauss do this a lot with Device, right? That's just a regular thing people do. But the main thing is how this round actually plays out. So we're going to let it play for a few seconds here, or at least like 20 seconds. And you can see Spirit, they've shown some pressure around mid. They're just going to flash the top right now, and they've gained bracket control, right? So this is brackets because of these pillars right here. So from a CTU perspective, you heard Hobbit hear them pull back a bit. So nafany knows, yep, I'm going to get pressure here. Flash comes in at the bottom. No contact yet. Second flash, he drops off. Really well played from him. And he actually holds onto his smoke for ages. So he gets the maximum potential out of his smoke. But, so because of that initial contact, we see 2 players rotate, right? Shira and Hobbit, they both arrive. But nafany, yeah, he's got pretty good information here. He's heard nothing in terms of the push-up to the wall, and Hobbit arrives and immediately flashes him into Banana. So Shira is already off, he's off on his bike, he's going to the other bomb site. Hobbit's just flashed him in. Hobbit can now rotate as well. And Spirit haven't even got past this line yet. So nafany would be calling, Banana looks clear, there's 30 seconds, get to that A bomb site right now. And it's perfect, look at this, he runs out pistol forward the whole way through. And there's not enough time, he can basically run knife out, they need to go up to the site. And this is such a good A-hold that it delays them long enough for nafany to arrive and just wipe them out. Like, so this is just straight up knowing, well, when to make a play, when not to. And frankly, that was just the story of this map overall, right? So that was one situation where we saw nafany use good information on one side of the map and then tell his team what to do. So after this round, Spirit did pause, so we're going to skip right past this, just set it to fast forward. But they take a pause because it's like, well, how did that not work out? We just played slow, we took Banana control back off them, but they don't know how far ahead nafany was playing, right? He plays so far forward. And then this is actually going to be a bit different. So consider the utility we have on Hobbit and nafany, right? So they both used HEs so far, otherwise they've not really done much, right? So Banana control's been taken at the top. They know this is a force buy / half buy round, so they need to be quite wary, which is why that Molotov comes through from Hobbit. So we're actually going to go free cam for this one. So Spirit on the other side of the map, they've got the 1 player going through Vietnam right here, and then the other player in apps as well in Mudjux. So he's the guy who has the AK as well, bear in mind. So he's kind of the only scary presence, really. So Hobbit's already used his smoke. This smoke will go about 1 minute, about 55, I believe. And then nafany is ready with this lovely little lineup, which, in case you play new boxes, this would be a lovely one to know. Should be a nice and easy one, really. You just aim there and jump through, and it bounces off both walls and lands right in the middle. So that lands in, meaning there's about, what, 33 seconds left on the clock when it fades? But nafany then throws his Molotov as well. So they're stuck behind this Molotov. They give a long enough time for Shiro to arrive. And ultimately, this is just fantastic grenade usage. And we see now Spirit, they're forced into going to the other bomb site. And this is just... This is defined a disaster, in my mind. If you're part of a team and you're having to go back to the other bomb site in a rush, you send 2 people in, but frankly, they should have great communication. They know there's not many people who have been here. And now Inters and Axile, they can just do whatever they want. Like, they get the first kill and it's pretty much a whitewash from here. Like, it's straightforward Counter-Strike. Very simple. Yet Spirit looked completely lost. Like, this is a team that got, what was it, 7 rounds against Astralis on the T side? They're 7-0 down at this point, this map. So, after this, coincidentally, Gambit decide, we're going to take a pause as well. We'll talk about it, because that was a bit of a weird round. They know we kind of gamble stacked, or rather, we didn't take banana control ourselves either. So we'll play it normally from here. So, this is now round 8, right? So, this is a bit of a awkward one, because this is the round that Spirit do actually take back. And it's kind of clear why. Like, it's a pretty straightforward reasoning. We'll play it a bit fast forward here. So the players keep an eye on is Mir, of course. So think about how they didn't even nade this round. And then they decide, let's do some retake grenades. We'll throw stuff over the top. But look at where Mir is already. Like, he's already out at the top right now. And Hobbit needs to lose the firefight, and then nafany, he's left in no man's land. He used his grenades to do the retake top banana thing, and now he has basically no chance. Even if he gets 1 kill, it's not going to be good enough. The CTs will have to save, especially with their money not being fantastic right now. So this round was well played by Mir, obviously, to win the firefight and then get ahead of the grenades. But the main thing really is the fact that there wasn't much that could be done from the Gambit side, and they know this, right? That was a pretty straightforward situation. They've got ahead of your grenades. We can't do that. Fine. Like that's how they're going to win a round. That's okay. We just need to know that in the future. Great. So now we're going to round 9, right? So during that round, Spirit did like the same set of grenades. They threw a smoke towards Arch, they flashed the top mid, and then they also had 2 players. I think it was 1 in apps, and then 1 player to mid. And then at the same time, they had 3 players towards banana. So Spirit are actually going to do the exact same thing. So this was the same thing we saw Na'Vi do, funnily enough, against Gambit on train, right? It was a thing I covered where Na'Vi got success going through upper, and then they decided, well, we'll do the exact same thing. And instead of actually changing things too much, look at what Gambit do, right? I'm going to pause it here. Gambit got 4 players towards the A bomb site right now. They really don't care about the fact that Mir could walk in and then get to the top without really using any grenades. They're willing to let Hobbit stay towards CT, use his Molotov if he needs to, delay them, and we're going to watch nafany, right? So he gets a dink on magics, he tries to capitalize, unfortunately gets killed. So you've lost one of your B players at top mid, and there's been no trade, right? That's possibly, in terms of information as a T-side player, you're thinking that this is great, right? One of the B players has died at A. There's probably either an AWP at B on his own, or it's a single player there. Because there's no way they switch it around like this. But it's worth noting, Hobbit has this smoke in play. He can hear the smokes being thrown in by Spirit. But hear that? He hears them run away. He actually heard the footsteps here going back. And we see the A players do not budge, right? This setup they have towards A is actually unreal as well. So Shearer has Arch. And then look at this. Like, this is despicable, right? Axile was so good in Pet this game. And Inters was the perfect support to it. He basically had Axile's close angles covered no matter what. We're just going to speed it up a bit, and then here it comes. Inters, all he has to do is just look to his right and kill everybody there. In fact, he actually turns around and gets a 3rd anyway. But that's immediately the round lost. Just because. Literally just because. Instead of walking from here to here, you ran all the way back. Like, it's so unnecessary, you could argue. But either way, that's just another case of Gambit knowing and actually just having advanced positions or slightly aggressive positions where they're able to, gamble sack 3 players towards a bomb site in a situation where there's only 4 of them left. Especially when there's a, quote, fake being sold towards the other side of the map. So round 10 is actually going to be the other one we're going to look at. So let's just build a scenario here. So we've just seen nafany die right here. Inters died towards top mid as well. And Hobbit has been the solo player towards this bomb site here. So there's a minute 5 roughly on the clock. You're in a 4v3 in favour of the terrorist side. So that's way, way ahead in their favour. So what do you do, right? So we'll let this round play out in this view. So Axile has been the man in the pit basically all the entire game. He's been that twist style player, he's been here the whole time. So we'll keep an eye on that. But we'll switch across to Hobbit just so we can have the sound cues. So smoke comes in towards CT, and then the banana pressure is taken. So, if we consider what I've just shown you the past, like, what, 3 rounds, right, we'll build off that. The last, like, 3 rounds, it's been a case of Gambit having really good information and knowing when to give players, or put more pressure or players towards one side of the map than the other. And Gambit actually do it again, right? It's straight up. They get the noise cues and they decide, well, if we're going to win this round, we need to actually have more than one player on the B bomb site. So why don't we just send everybody there? Okay. So Axile has been so good in pit. Last round they went towards A and they lost it in an advantage situation. Let's now think. Chances are they'll go B. They lost last round. They'll go B. So we'll let this one play out from this perspective. We'll start from Shiro, because he actually gets the first contact. Meaning that they should know, either Shiro's here alone, or for some reason they've stacked it, right? So Molotov's come through, Shiro gets the peek, he shoots, shows his presence there, Hobbit, good damage, but watch Axile here. Axile just pushes like an absolute madman. And absolutely none of them expect it. Like, there's no way that on the T side you're thinking all 3 players are there. Like, it's such a big gamble that you're like, but why? But that's what happens when your game is so readable, and the fact that, you know, this is a team you've played quite a lot, and sometimes when you've played them a lot and they've beaten you in the previous circumstances, you can sometimes get into your own head about things, right? You can sometimes start to believe that even though you're losing, it doesn't necessarily mean that they know what you're doing fully without any other reason, like they've done an anti-strat. Sometimes you could just be making the wrong calls. And that is what has been happening in this game, if I'm perfectly honest. So round 11, this was basically a sequence of back-to-back-to-back rounds where Gambit were able to make fantastic calls. So again, triple banana, we saw this a lot. The nades towards the bottom, smoke to the bottom. See, they actually threw 2 smokes by mistake here as well. So this is a bit of a mess up round by them. But look at this. So Shiro's already smoked top mid, Axel smokes apps as well. So they've smoked off 2 areas on A to try and like delay, because they know, well, it's only us 2 here. We need to show that we're trying to hold the line. But look at nafany in this round. He's already near the bottom. And smokes are being pulled, flashes are being pulled top mid, and look how far up nafany is already. He's already going through the smoke. And they're coming up quad. And this is, I mean, it's a mess from Inter's point of view, but we'll show it anyway. This is not an absolute disaster. But we'll switch back to nafany, and he's already on the flank, right behind them. Like, it's literally the worst possible scenario for when you're, like, going up towards a bomb site, that somebody's already right behind you. And it's not to do with anything, like... it's not just, like, a luck basis, either. It's the fact that some of the players are so readable. So this is going to be the last round, round 12. So we'll stay on nafany for this one, right? So it's the same, well actually it's different because Shiro's here, but it's still the same 3 players going towards banana. Smoke at the bottom, Molly at the half wall, Team Spirit but a smoke at the top themselves, and they've actually got, you know, towards the logs. This is the first time I think they actually got there without taking much damage as well. So Hobbit's actually got his flashbang out, Shiro's anti-flash, and then nafany is here. Kind of I mean, it's holding an angle where they should go wide enough to be traded. So they flash to get the top, but there's already 3 players at the half wall, and he's unfortunately going to get caught here with no trade. Like, especially when you do that jump. Like, if you don't get killed here with any consequence, you've got away with murder. Okay. So, nafany gets killed again. First kill of the round, quite early I'd say, like, that's still a minute on the clock. And Spirit haven't really shown too much pressure, top mid or apps. So let's see, so if you're a team, right, and you've lost one of your B players after going triple banana, more often than not, you would assume they'd probably go B later on in the round. However, Gambit, once again, they make a strategic call and they decide, let's actually go for 1 player on B, we'll leave Shiro here, and we'll stick with our double mid play. And don't get me wrong, like, it was a good mid-haul, but the main thing really was the fact that Hobbit arrived here just as the Apps player is going to kill the quad player, and he kills him and then turns this into basically a 1v4. With Dexter, fair play to him, he gets 2 kills, but there's only so much he can do. And this really was just the story of the entire game. Like, Gambit, that CT side was so damn good that the T side could be pretty awful and it should be fine. And trust me, the T side was awful. It nearly went to overtime anyway.